Good evening, and thank you for joining us today. We will be discussing electronic logging devices and impacts that it has on Southern Tank Transport. Allow me to introduce the team. We decided to embrace the culture of the trucker nation, so we wore our trucker hats, our flannel, and we have our trucker handles. We have Tracy Sweet Tea, we have Adam Wild Boar, we have Speedy Borquette, Valentina, we have Jeremy, Mike Honcho, we have Austin Candy Cane, we have Brady, Swamp Rooster, excuse me. We have Vance Brown Ox and myself, Chickenfoot. Adam will go ahead and tell us about the organization introduction.
Wild Boar here. Chickenfoot, if you'll go to the next slide. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the organizational history of Southern Tank Transport. 1934, the company was known as the George A. Raymond Company. It was the first company to specialize in bulk gasoline hauls. That was until 1959, when in a joint venture, it joined the Matlock Company and became Southern Bulk Haulers. At that time, they became the first company in South Carolina to haul bulk load cement. It shows the innovation and the commitment to its customers that Southern Tank Transport is founded on. It wasn't until 1994 that Southern Tank Transport was actually formed, and it wasn't until 2000 that all of those companies came under one umbrella known as Southern Tank Transport. Today, Southern Tank Transport has over 400 trailers, over 270 trucks, and does over 90,000 loads per year. If you'll go to the next slide, we'll show some of their competitors. All of these competitors have been in the industry for over 50 years. One thing they all do is fight over drivers rather than the demand. There's plenty of demand out there, but there is a driver shortage. Back to you, Chickenfoot.
Thank you, Wild Boar. Next, we will have Brown Ox talking about the KPIs.
This is Brown Ox here. The KPIs that Southern Tank Transport monitors, this list covers them all, but primarily what they're after is they need 325 loads per day to be profitable and operate efficiently. And so they monitor loads per day, and they monitor drivers availability per day, and they also truck availability per day. If you look on the chart, driver counts, they are running low. Their average for the year is 175. They need 190 drivers per year or per day. For trucks, they're doing very well. They got a newer fleet. So average age is only 4.8 years. So they actually have 232 truck and trailers available today versus a target of 230. Loads per day, they're targeting 325, and they're actually at a year-to-date average of 317. This is strictly due to a driver shortage. If they had the drivers, they've got the customers. Demand is greater than than they can meet. So those are missed opportunities in Southern Tank Transport's eyes. Those extra 8 loads a day would be very good for the company and very meaningful. The other thing that is actually ties into ELD specifically, if you look at DOT inspections out of service citations, that's when a truck driver actually runs out of hours. The industry average, national industry average, is 5.51% when the truckers haven't, go through a weigh station or get pulled over by DOT, and they go through the logbooks to evaluate, are you operating in compliance? Southern Tank Transport has a 3.2% rate versus a 5.51 or 5.5% nationally. So that's very, very good. They also have a great safety record as far as fatalities. They are doing okay on the DOT recordable accidents per 100 million miles at 53 versus 45. That number has increased with the mandatory implementation of ELDs, ironically. So overall, they're doing real good as a company, and these are the KPIs they monitor. Back to you, Chickenfoot.
Thank you, Brown Ox. Next, we have Speedy Borquette talking about focal business process.
Hi, I'm Speedy Borquette, and I will talk about pros and cons of ELD. The following video will show you how ELD works and its benefits.
Managing a fleet is more challenging than ever. Paper logs take hours to audit. Tracking drivers requires endless phone calls. And preparing IFTA reports takes way too much time. Now you can automate it all with Keep Truckin', a single platform that connects vehicles, drivers, and fleet managers. It all starts with electronic logs. Just plug the Keep Truckin' electronic logging device into the diagnostic port in your vehicle. The Keep Truckin' electronic logbook app connects to the ELD via Bluetooth and automatically records driving time. If your driver is running low on hours, they get alerted right in the app. With the Keep Truckin' dashboard for fleets, you'll be able to view your driver's logs up to the minute. And with automatic log auditing, you'll quickly spot any violations. You can message your drivers right from the dashboard. You can also track your drivers and vehicles in real time and view their breadcrumb location history for any day in the past. That makes IFTA reporting a breeze. Keep Truckin' automatically calculates the distance your vehicles have traveled in each jurisdiction, so you can easily prepare IFTA fuel tax reports. Keep Truckin' is the easiest to use and most affordable electronic logging and fleet management system in the world. Visit keeptruckin.com or give us a call at 855-434-ELOG to learn more.
As you can see in the video, ELD has many benefits for companies. However, it also has a negative impact on the firm. The hours of service restrictions and the drivers reluctant to use it have increased STT's driver shortage problem. 10-4.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Swamp Rooster talking about critical success factors.
Might help if I unmute this thing. The critical success factors that Southern Tank has are the service. They provide an exceptional service for their customers. The entry barrier is fairly high in that to replace Southern Tank's fleet at this point for all the trucks and trailers that they own would be anywhere from $70 million to $100 million. So the entry barrier to getting in is pretty tough, so it kind of protects them. And the same thing with economies of scale. The economies of scale, basically, Southern Tank hauls commodities, and commodities have a lot lower margins, so they have to, they have to run a lot of loads to be able to make the profits that they need to make. And the fourth thing here is location, and that's one of the bigger things that kind of ties all of these together. If you can go to the next slide. And this is the map, the footprint that Southern Tank has throughout the Southeast. And most of the terminals are within 5 miles of the major customers. In some cases, like in Clifton, Texas, the terminal is actually on the customer site. So this allows to meet the customer's needs much easier and make their jobs easier. Obviously, if we are running the logistics for them, it's much like an employee and a supervisor relationship, to where, if you make your boss's life easier, you're doing a great job. And that's how Southern Tank approaches running the product for their customers. You'll also notice there's a green line between Missouri and Virginia. And this is where the R.O. Harrell was a company that Southern Tank was able to buy. Another thing with economies of scale, in that they could purchase another company because they had ELDs already up and running. The prior owner did not want to invest in it. So they were able to buy the company at a reasonable price. But R.O. Harrell is in South Boston, Virginia, because that's where the Harrell family was from. Their customers are ways away. So we have a rail spur that runs from Missouri to right next door to South Boston to accommodate the loads, to accommodate customers. And basically, it's the same thing that goes back to the first point of the critical success factors. Our location makes it easier for us to service our customers better. Back to you, Chickenfoot.
Thank you, Swamp Rooster. talking about Porter's 5 factors, we have Sweet Tea.
Thanks, Chickenfoot. I'm going to go through these pretty quickly because, as you saw, some of my teammates already discussed some of these things. So industry competition, Swamp Rooster just talked about the industry competition and the geographical locations and of the, I don't know what I'm saying, the geographical locations of where we are. So, okay, so I'm not going to talk about that, but potential, the next one is potential new entrants to the industry. And that one also, my friend Swamp Rooster talked about the high barrier to entry. So we don't have a lot of that. And as Wild Boar mentioned, the last new entrant was in the market 55 years ago. So we don't think that's going to be a threat anytime soon. So I also want to talk about the power of suppliers, because that is our third force factor. So the power of suppliers, it comes in different forms for STT. The first one is the equipment, the trucks, the ELD equipment necessary to operate and stay compliant with the law. And these suppliers have the upper hand because trucks are obviously very expensive, and that's something that's needed, and the ELD equipment is mandated. But the second type of supplier that is the product that's hauled by STT drivers, like the lime, cement, and sand, those particular suppliers have very limited impact on operational cost. And the last type of supplier is probably has the biggest impact on operational cost is fuel price, fuel tax, and insurance. And those don't seem to, aren't expected to stop rising anytime soon. Now, the power of the customer, that is actually very low. So the customer has very little power over the price or any negotiating. Actually, the demand for hauling bulk commodities is so high that STT actually is in a great position. They get to kind of pick which customers they want to service, and they pick only the most profitable because as we've already discussed, the high demand and driver shortage is an industry-wide problem. So that's not changing anytime soon either. And then the threat of substitute products, the regulation of the trucking industry with the ELD systems actually leveled the playing field with the big trucking companies with the small independent truck drivers. So before ELDs, independents were able to kind of fudge their books and drive longer hours and charge lower rates by hauling more freight using the paper logs and not subtracting loading times. But with the ELD mandate, small companies can't do that. So there's really no alternative for over-the-road trucks for delivery of supplies. I mean, they can kind of limit the need for deliveries by combining loads or having materials shipped directly to the sites as opposed to having an intermediary site. But really, they're still going to need a truck haul from somewhere. So even if they go with rail, they're going to need a truck haul to the final destination. So as far as future threats for substitutes, it's a long way off, but things like driverless trucks and maybe Uber Freight, which my buddy Mike Contra will talk about, will be the biggest threat. And that's all for me. Over and out, Chickenfoot.
Thank you, Sweet Tea. Next, talking about value chain analysis, we have Candy Cane.
Hey everyone, it's Candy Cane here. I'm going to touch on a few of the value chain analysis functions, starting with inbound logistics. For STT, this is the customer. As my buddy Swampfoot already mentioned, STT set themselves apart from their competitors by building their terminals within 5 miles of their customers and near the near the largest limestone quarry in the country. After that, we have operations. At the heart of STT's operations are the ELDs, powered by the TMW TL2000. This system is designed to improve the carrier's day-to-day operation and business performance. This is done through several features, such as the driver settlement, maintenance management, routes, mileage tracking, vehicle management, and dispatch management. Next, we have the outbound logistics. This part of the process is when SCT actually delivers the product to the customer. STT provides drivers with training on the customer's equipment to speed up this process and make it more efficient. The last three are all combined. The last three all focus on the same function, and that, well, excuse me, the last three all have the same goal, and that is recruiting and keeping drivers. They just go about it. They go about it in different ways. We have sales and marketing. You guys all probably heard the commercials over the radio where they're trying to recruit new drivers. You have the human resource management team. They go about it by offering sign-on bonuses and safety bonuses. And then last we have the procurement team, and they go about it by trying to improve the driver's quality of life by ensuring that the drivers always have the latest and greatest trucks, or whether that be Volvo or Kentworth. Candy Cane, over and out.
Thanks, Candy Cane. And lastly, we have Mike Honcho with future recommendations.
All right, so Breakers is Mike Honcho. Thank you, Chickenfoot. And we got for future recommendations, you know, one of the things that we see is an opportunity for these ELDs is integration of sensors, weight, proximity, whether it's weight, proximity, RFIDs, or contact sensors. These things can be integrated into the ELD and into the truck to log when loads are received or dropped off. Integration into accounting would be the next feature, whereas you could when those loads are dropped off, those sensors are activated, it would automatically send over the necessary information to log that into an accounting software and charge the customer. Then the big crutch of what's going on with these ELDs, you know, when these drivers they might be 20 miles from their house and they have to shut down because there's these ELDs are so stringent. There's new technologies out on the horizon that can more accurately determine when a driver is fatigued. They've got a technology called Smart Cap. It's a hat that you wear on your head that measures brain waves and can tell when you're getting tired. Seeing machine, it's a camera that monitors the eyelids so that it tells when you're getting sleepy, and then a vest that can detect if you have a heart attack, and that's coming out by Mercedes. And then this whole ELD is kind of going towards driverless trucks. And, you know, Tesla's got working very hard. They look to bring out a car next year that can be completely autonomous, have a whole taxi fleet. And then we need dedicated lanes for those trucks to drive in. So that's kind of the future of where we see ELDs going. Over and out, back at you there, Chickenfoot.
Thank you, Mike Honcho. On the behalf of my team and I, we hope you learned something new today. Thank you for your time, and this is Chickenfoot, over and out.